I think the part of the Sermon on the Mount that has been most important for me is the section where Jesus talks about, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I tell you not to resist an evil person. It's a passage that really has taught me just how different it is to follow Jesus, just how different Jesus' ethics are. When you look at it, it just moves against what we feel naturally, it moves against what we hear culturally, and it moves against just kind of even what we understood about God before we met Jesus. The other day I was holding my 3-year-old, and she was rambunctious, and she hit me in the head. She kind of headbutted me in the face. And I just remember that feeling, this adrenaline just came over me, and I just got her off my lap really quick. And it's just so natural and instinctual that if somebody hits you, your body just prepares to hit them back. And for Jesus to say, no, I tell you to turn the other cheek, I mean, it pushes against the very natural things we feel. It pushes against culture. We were watching a television show the other day, and on the show a little kid got hit on the playground. He went home and his dad said, I want you to go right back to that playground and punch that bully right back in the face and let him know you won't take it. That's a culture we live in. We live in a culture where we'd rather shoot somebody than let them steal something from us. And here we have Jesus saying, I tell you that if somebody asks for your cloak, give them your tunic also. It's just it's so countercultural to kind of American culture and what we often teach our kids. It's even counter to what people knew about God before now. Eye for an eye and tooth for tooth is not just some wisdom. I mean, this is the law of Moses. And Jesus is saying the holiness that you had with Moses, you've got to go even beyond that, one more step. And he does that consistently throughout the Sermon on the Mount. But that whole passage is just pushes us to have a just totally different ethics system. I just find that fascinating. It's been meaningful in my life. As a church planner, I'm always worried about how passages affect non-believers, what they think about them. And I find this passage to be so, in some ways it strikes them as naive, but at the same time they see the power in it. They say, well, how does this work? How do you resist someone without resisting someone? But then you point them to people like the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. Martin Luther King, and you see where this turning the other cheek has this power and the strength. And they say this gospel doesn't necessarily make sense, but I can see the beauty and the power and the strength in it. And that's why that passage is just probably the most meaningful for me in the whole sermon.